Hello and welcome to the Web Basics series. Today I'll be talking about email types and how to get your email actually delivered to someone's inbox. This video is brought to you by Enfira Web Design and Development. Let's get started. Who is this video for? This is for business owners who are trying to understand their email and how to get it delivered, agencies who are trying to get emails to actually work for their clients, and anyone who needs a simple introduction to email. Today I'm going to be simplifying some of the technical details. So why am I making this video? Because all the time I get asked, why can't my email just work? Trust me, I would love to wave a magic wand and get rid of all your email problems. Unfortunately, the issue is that for your email to get delivered to all the different people that you want it delivered to, it has to interact with literally hundreds of servers and thousands of filters on those servers. And to add more complexity, these filters are changing literally every day. This is why things can suddenly stop working, because the filters changed, and they change all the time. Why is it so hard to get the emails past the filters? Because of spammers. Every year, spammers get better at getting through spam filters. So the spam filters, in turn, get tougher for everyone to get through. This is why approaches that worked in the past will stop working in the future. The top spam filters are updated constantly and are personalized to each account based on that account's behaviors. This is why you may reach some people at a domain, but not others. Personal email providers like Gmail, Yahoo, and AOL all make it much harder. And the owners of these types of accounts are usually clueless about how filters work or how to get email through their filters. So, let's talk about how email gets from the sender to a recipient. This journey is going to be a bit simplified. An email is created and sent. The email could be created by an individual opening up their email application, typing out an email. It could be created by an app sending a confirmation, thanks for registering, or it could be sent by a website. Something like, thanks for purchasing a product. This email looks into the internet to find a recipient server. So it wants to know where it can deliver this message to. Hopefully, it finds the server and delivers the email to the server. The server for the recipient then acts a lot like a mailroom, and the email coming into it gets sorted based on a set of rules, also known as filters. Using these rules or filters, the server then delivers it to someone's inbox, someone's spam folder, or somewhere else. So here's a little more about how email filters work. Most email servers' filters, or their sorting rules, are constantly changing. Literally, with almost every single email that they receive, and how the account holder treats that email. If someone marks something as spam, it decides that person doesn't like this kind of email. If someone removes something from a spam folder, it might mean that person does like this kind of email. So what are the possible things that a filter can do to your piece of email? It could deliver it to the inbox. That's obviously your goal. It could put it into a folder. Gmail puts marketing emails into the promotions folder. It could put it into spam. This is typically someone's spam folder, which is usually accessible on their desktop and their mobile and in their browser. It could put it into a spam quarantine. A spam quarantine is a special place for spam. It's not accessible via a normal spam folder. You actually have to log into your server and look at the quarantine. It could automatically delete it. Some email filters, if you reach a certain threshold on their spam score, will automatically delete the email. It could bounce it. Perhaps it doesn't like spam and has rules to actually bounce spam back to the sender. Or it could forward it to somewhere else. Many people use one inbox to forward to multiple other inboxes. And if it gets forwarded, it goes through the same set of rules all over again. Email filters have become increasingly complex over the years, and they have also become increasingly stubborn. Once an email filter starts to dislike an address, it usually dislikes everything from that address. And once these filters get in a habit, they can be very hard to break of that habit. Personal providers like Gmail, Yahoo, and AOL are usually the most difficult to get to break their habits. This is why it's a good idea to have different email addresses for different purposes. Many businesses will have a specific email address that their website uses, something like website@mydomain.com, a marketing email address, a billing email address, and a general inquiry email address. In order to understand how to get past the filters, we need to look at the different types of email that need to get through the filters. There are generally 3 types of email. The first is marketing. Marketing are emails like newsletters, where one person is sending to a group of many people. These are frequently automated through an email newsletter provider. The next type is transactional. These are normally automated emails, typically sent from a website or an application, and they are sent individually to just one person at a time. An example of these types of emails is if you filled out a form on a website and they sent you a thank you, if you signed up for a newsletter and you got a thank you, if you purchased something from a website and got a receipt. The last type is direct. These emails are sent from one person to another, either individual or set of people. The most common types of these emails are your business correspondence, emails between coworkers, questions from your customers. These are the direct emails that human beings type out to send to other human beings. How do you get your email delivered to the inbox? Let's look at each of the types of email. If you're talking about a marketing email, you want to have a dedicated email address used for marketing. That way, if at some point the filters decide that it's spam, your other messages have a chance of getting through. Some companies will take this a step further and use a completely separate domain for their marketing-only emails. It's also important to use an email newsletter provider and make sure that it's connected to a real domain address, not something like a Gmail or a Yahoo or one of the free providers like that. And make sure to always read the newsletter provider's guidelines on maximizing deliverability. They will have a number of tips for you specific to their individual service. It's also important for you to avoid known spam words in your emails, or if you absolutely have to use them, minimize them. If you go to bit.ly/email spam words, you can view the current list. It gets updated very regularly. If we're talking about a transactional email, again, these are the emails like a purchase receipt from an e-commerce website. You should have a dedicated email address on the same domain as your website. You should not use the built-in PHP mail function. Most web servers will, by default, try to use this function to send email. It's a no-no. You should make sure that your email sent from your website is authenticated. via an OAuth or an SMTP or another authentication method. If you have no idea what these are, please contact a developer for help. And frequently, you should use an email delivery service, something like Mailgun, SendGrid, Sendinblue, etc. These services are basically an alternate way to get your email there. In terms of the internet, they function very similarly to how many businesses will use a courier service for delivering important items. Instead of using a traditional mail service or UPS or FedEx, they'll use an actual courier service to get it there a little differently, a little bit higher likelihood of it actually getting delivered. For direct emails, one of the best tips is for you not to send any marketing emails from addresses that you use for your direct email. Also, make sure you are sending them through an email client. There are some third-party services that you can use to kind of send email on your behalf. Make sure that you're not sending your direct email, your person-to-person email through those services. Also, don't include a lot of links. Most spam filters can get upset at just 3 links in an email. So make sure you're not including a whole bunch of links. Also, don't include large attachments. When you want to send a large attachment, use a service like WeTransfer. WeTransfer is a free service for sending large attachments, anything from a small little 2K item to a 2 gigabyte item. How do you get your email delivered to their inbox? Here are some additional items that you should have in place for all of your email types. Now, these specific items are technical, so you should make sure to contact a hosting provider or a developer for help with them. They are a DKIM record, an SPF record, and an RDNS record. You probably have no idea what these things are, but write them down in a checklist and make sure that your hosting provider or your developer takes care of them for you. Now, here are some items that the non-technical folks can and should do every couple months. Go to mxtoolbox.com and enter your domain. Check to see if it is on any of the blacklists. If your domain gets on the blacklist, that will automatically have email servers flag your email as spam. Check your reputation on sitecheck.sucuri.net. Again, you just enter your website URL into a box, click go, wait a minute or so, and get your results. Check your reputation on sites like McAfee and BrightCloud. They will do a scan of your site and see if your URL is showing up with any issues. If you do have issues in your reputation, make sure to either address the issue that they're concerned about or contact them to have your site re-reviewed. You should also make sure to regularly check your Google console for any notifications from Google. Some other tips. If someone signs up for something on your website, like an email subscription list, make sure to give them a thank you message telling them to check their spam folder if they don't see an email within a few minutes. This might be the first email that they have ever received from you, and it may end up in their spam folder. If they remove it from the spam folder, that tells their inbox that they like this kind of email, which means that this type of email is more likely to end up in their inbox in the future. Remember, spam filters can be stubborn. It can take a couple of moves from the spam folder to an inbox to train a filter. What about this whitelisting thing? You may see emails that ask you to whitelist a particular address or domain. Whitelisting is basically telling your email service that you want to skip all the spam filters from this email address and always deliver this email address to your inbox. This is a great tool for getting emails into an inbox. Unfortunately, very few people actually know how to whitelist, or even what whitelisting is. So, since there are so few people who actually know how to whitelist, this tends to be useless and just creates more confusion with people. So unfortunately, whitelisting isn't going to be a viable option for most of you. So the key takeaways on email. Every year, email delivery gets harder. What worked in the past may not work in the future. There are 3 types of email: marketing, transactional, and personal or direct. Each email type should be handled differently for deliverability. And always make sure to check your domain's blacklist status and reputation on a regular basis. Thanks for watching. More videos are available on our YouTube channel, and visit our blog for more articles and tutorials.